Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all so much for joining us for another issue or edition, as we should say, of It's CPA Time. And once again, we have the ladies of It's CPA Time. Say hello to the C, which is Carolyn Leslie.
Hey, everybody.
And let's say hello to me, the P of the group, Pam. Hello, hello. And we have the A of the group, Almedia.
Hey, how's everybody today?
It is so wonderful to see you all on this day, a day that the Lord has made, right?
Yes.
So we're just going to rejoice as we
Amen to that.
cover today's topics. Before we begin, I want to say, Sister Carolyn, who is the cook of the group, the chef, that was a beautiful butter pecan cake that I saw on your Facebook page today.
Oh, I sweated a while trying to make it. I was so nervous because the guy who I made it for, he's kind of like a high end. And he was like, man, this cake's so doggone good. I was like, man, I sweated on that cake because there was a lot of steps to it. But, the frosting, oh, my God.
Oh,
I told him, I said, you had a little bit left. And I made me a little small cake and I used your frosting on it. So it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Beautiful. And it had fresh pecans on top. Yeah. Did you get a chance to see it, Almedia?
I will take a look at it when we finish up here.
Right. I'm tempted, even though you said how hard it was, I'm tempted to ask you to make us one.
Let me know.
Oh, and Almedia, I haven't seen any of your crafts lately. Are you still having time to do that with your current employment?
Well, you are putting me on the spot. So I started a new job at the beginning of the year, and I am learning the industry. I'm still in human resources, but it's a different industry. So the answer is no, I haven't been doing any crafts. So you putting that back on my radar. I'm going to have to get busy.
Because all in my house, Almedia, everywhere I look, I got some of your stuff.
Oh,
in my bedroom so where I keep my journal and all your stuff. Everywhere I look, your stuff, the picture frames. Everywhere I look, you all in my house. So, yeah, you can't stop now. Yeah, but I know you're trying to learn a new job. Yeah, but you need your own craft store too.
Yes.
You do.
What I have been doing, Pam, is I lead a group of ladies. It's women's ministry, so I have been busy doing that, and I am so enjoying it so much. So sometimes when you put some up, you got to put some down just for a little bit.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm jealous of both of you.
Well, look, try telling my customers that. I wish I could have put. Yeah, today was crazy. Yeah, I heard Almedia say you got to put it down. Lord have mercy.
Jesus.
One girl just texted me. I ate for pecans. So I said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you straight, baby." Yeah. Oh, Almedia, you're right. Sometimes you gotta try to balance it out.
Yeah.
Well, you all are so creative. I'm just glad to have such creative friends.
As so are you.
Yes.
Well, I need to start something. I'm pretty busy most nights. So when I do have a free night, I tend to just kind of become a couch potato. But I need to add something just for me. And I'll let you guys know about it as soon as I figure out what that is.
You know, we can point you in the right direction.
I know, right?
Hmm.
Well, we have a very interesting letter for our segment on there's it's only one side.
Okay.
And it's entitled My Husband, My Husband, My Darling Husband Sam.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good, right? My darling
So far.
Sam.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay, let's get into it. And please excuse me because I am getting a little older and I need to focus my eyesight on this letter.
Okay.
It says here, Sam does not contribute financially, does not help around the house, does not
Hmm.
cook, does not help with groceries or household essentials. I pay for our food if we eat out. I pay for and take care of our pets. I pay for all of our internet, mobile, and utility bills. He sometimes contributes a bit for rent, but hasn't been able to pay his share of it in full for months. I know that you're wondering, does Sam work? Well, he chooses to stay at a job where he barely gets any hours. And he buys stupid things with whatever money he does make. He'll sometimes take my debit card and spend $50 on junk food without even asking. I buy groceries with the intent to cook our meals. He eats all of the groceries before I can cook. And I do mean he eats and eats and eats. So our fridge is always empty.
Okay.
When I get home from work, I start doing housework, laundry, dishes, cleaning, and etc. And he whines about me doing this instead of focusing on him. He called
Oh.
me psycho last week for folding laundry, always saying things like, ugh, do you have to do that right now? Can't you just come snuggle with me? Which turns into him grabbing at me and having unpleasant sex. Then he naps while I finish the housework I started. It's just the icing on the cake that he can't just appreciate me picking up his slack. He continues to whine and complain about it when I start doing chores. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Get this. He has told me to my face that he will always put himself and his wants and needs above mine. I thought it was just out of anger during a fight, but he shows me on a daily basis that he meant it. I'm not sure why it's hard for me to leave Sam. At this point, my any advice will be appreciated. I wish we had a name for our person seeking advice because I don't want to be ugly. But if I could, I would call her Mrs. Stupid. That would be my name.
Wow.
I just the fact that she even wrote this letter just stuns me, you know. And we only have one side, but her side is pretty forceful. It's pretty deep. It's pretty detailed.
Right.
So let's start with you tonight, Almeida. What are your first impressions?
Okay. That letter has a whole lot in it, and we only have one side. So I'm going to start first with questions. Have they been married forever and a day? And the relationship got to this point? Are they newlyweds? And this is how it's starting? Do they have children in this relationship? That's seeing this unbalance in this marriage. So those are my questions there. That's kind of, and I have those questions because what's what's her motivation for staying?
Right.
It doesn't seem like love is the motivation, but more of a self-esteem issue. Um, did they agree that this would be the set up for the marriage, the division of labor for the marriage? Did they agree that she would be the worker in the relationship? Um, the letter did not say that he had any um disabilities or anything like that. Um, the end part of it, he said he's gonna look out for him. In a marriage, it's a joint effort. It is traditionally the husband is the covering for the marriage. And to be in his rightful spot, in his rightful place. It'll be interesting to see if he would tell about their relationship if it would mirror her letter. But I think she's stuck. I think she's suffering. Um, she said the sex is even unpleasant. Um, but I don't know why she's staying. I don't know why she's staying. So my advice to her would be to get out of the marriage. If they've been married for a long, long time and she's put ultimatums in place and he hasn't risen to the standard that she's expecting, then I think she is um, well within her rights to end the marriage because it's not a marriage.
Right. It is not. Carolyn, would you like to add to that?
My first thing, when you start reading the letter and it was incident after incident on pile of incident. The fact that she wrote the letter really, first of all, kind of smelly. And then her calling herself the name she called herself, like stupid or whatever. And another thing that stood out to me, he said, Amita mentioned it, but he did say he will always put himself above everything. So, you're fighting a losing battle. I never heard only one side be so definitive as it was tonight. She laid it out. It's like you didn't leave anything for us to really, infer or imagine, because you told us everything that this guy's doing. A husband is doing. So let me call him this guy because he's a good guy. But I mean, something gotta be wrong with her, like Amita said. Her self-esteem has to be really dragging the ground. Also, I would, if it were possible, that she could look back on his childhood to see, did his mama treat him that way, allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do with, without respect for the next person. Those are things that as women, when we start dating, we need to do background checks. I know, Pam, I know we talked about this one day. We got to start looking into the family background, everything. Do you have this in your family? You need to know this because we're getting hooked up with people who, I mean, this man is really, he sounds really kind of narcissistic. He does, because sometimes you can do a certain thing in the marriage or whatever. You should have some feeling of remorse about it. You know how you start to go too far off the deep edge and you catch yourself, well, I haven't been doing this. I could do this better. I could do that better. This rascal, oh, pardon my manners, the good guy, he cut, baby. I would not repeat stuff over and over and over. I mean, because when they err, of course, we forgive. You give them a chance to fix it, but you talk about it as if you've been experiencing this for not just
a minute,
nothing less than 5 or 10 years. It's time for Sam to go.
Yeah. And I mean, in relationships, each party has some area that they're weak on. You know, they may not like to help clean up the house, but they will go to work and they have ambition to try and provide financially. You know, one spouse may not like to cook, but the other side does, and make up the slack that way to make sure that that they have dinner, have food in the house. This guy, he just said no to everything. He's not going to provide financially. He's not going to bring the groceries in. He's not going to do laundry. He's not going to clean up. He's not doing anything except taking care of himself. And and she's just there to be
whatever,
his source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of Mrs. Stupid, I'm going to change that to Mrs. Victim. Because she has allowed herself to be placed in a situation. And it almost makes me wonder, did she treat him this way when they were dating? Because sometimes in order to get a man, we will try to be their all in all. She works every day, but she comes home and, why don't you come on over and have dinner with me, and maybe she, in their dating part, took over a lot of these responsibilities, instead of him paying for date night. Oh, I got it this time. Well, this time became every time. So one thing that someone said to me, and I've been kind of holding on to it, is that how you start is how you will end up. So don't start what you cannot or what you do not want to keep up.
Okay.
But she didn't mention that she's demanding anything either. So she may be, but she didn't mention that. Did she say when I tried to tell him this? Is she trying to set her, her demands out there for him to go by?
She said that they had a fight. And it was during this fight that, he told her he would always put himself first. And And then for him to, I think, didn't he call her names? Let me see. Because evidently
he grabbed at her
time that he's, said things out of anger to her.
Yeah.
Is my take on it.
Yep. He got him a sugar mama.
Yeah.
He gets it. He gets it anytime he wants it. And you know what it is. And he can still he doesn't have to give anything, and he can still be who he is. There's no accountability. He spends the money that he doesn't earn. He eats the food that he has not paid for. He does not contribute to the household in any way. He's really just doing him.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
baby,
she can just do her. She can just do her and leave him.
Amen. Yeah.
Really, what other advice can we give? It seems like she's gone through so much that I don't know. I have no advice other than you need to step away.
Yes.
You need to step away and find the man that God has provided for you, because he's not it.
Yeah.
He's not it.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Mister on The Color Purple. Like, that's who I was thinking about as you was reading them. Like, see, just like Mister.
Wow.
Like Almedia said, she's just a sugar mama, because he said he's there for what he can get. He's not there to be a partner, a companion.
Right.
He's not for any of that.
Right.
Yeah. He just wants food, sex, and a place to sleep and use the bathroom. That's it for him.
At least Mr. owned his house.
Yeah, right. So in this letter, she needs to drop that 0.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
There you go. And find yourself a hero.
I wish I could see.
I think that's good.
I love it.
And Almedia, what's the other song they got out now? If you want to go. He said, hey, you can walk right out that door. This train gonna keep on moving. That's what we tell him.
Yeah.
Wish I could sing it.
I think that was wonderful what we talked about. And I hope whoever hears this will, if they see themselves in that situation or heading into that same situation, that they will pause and think about it.
Yes.
And make a decision. Okay. Well, we can kind of segue from this letter, which really is about inequality in a marriage, into our topic for today, which is on inequality.
Okay.
And why does it still exist? And one of the things that occurred that had me wanting to speak about or to discuss with you all about inequality was when President Biden had his first nominee for the Supreme Court. He had decided that he was going to nominate a Black woman. Not a woman of color, but specifically a Black woman. And a lot of conservatives tried to say that wasn't right, that was, reverse discrimination. How dare you specifically say you're going to nominate a Black woman, and cut out everyone else, white men, white women, Asian women, or men. And that just burned me because, what what did you think? He's just gonna pick somebody off the street and say, "Hey, I want you to be a Supreme Court justice"? What makes you think or assume that the Black woman that he would nominate would not be extremely qualified for the position? And so that's what started me into thinking or exploring how inequality still exists in America. I guess we can start there, but it doesn't exist. We normally assume that it exists in the government, and it exists in government offices and employers. But from our advice letter segment, it also continues to exist in relationships. So, Carolyn, would you like to give us your ideas on the subject?
Well, yeah, he had always said that he would do that, but I've tried to intertwine who Biden is with his character, his platform, and his ability to look at what we already have. You got 12 Supreme Court justices. I feel like in one sense he was looking at, with the natural eye. And hey, we got all these men up here. You had one Black guy, Clarence Thomas, and you got the rest of them, all of them not just white per se, maybe Jewish or whatever. So I think he looked with the natural eye and saw that something needed to be done. I do agree with you, Pam. I may not have worded it like that because it set off a firestorm. But if you think about who Biden is now, not the old Biden, if you think about who he is, I think he was looking through like just a natural eye. And the terminology was kind of weak. It was kind of trouble starting to say a Black woman, because to me, I don't know, it's almost like I'm trying to win favor with the Black people, with the African American people. And it sounds good to it when I first heard it. Oh, sound good. But to be honest with you, Pam, I didn't think so much about it until you brought that point up about reverse discrimination. And that's what I told you I had to go and get some research on, because most political topics I'm always reading, I always listen to the news every day. So I make a point to do that because I feel like we need to know what's going on in the world, because we need to know how to direct our prayers. Amen. So if you ask me, I think he's trying to bring a quick fix to the long overdue ear representation that sits in the Supreme Court. If you ask me now, that's just my opinion. I think he's just trying to bring some kind of, it won't be balanced. That's not balanced to me. That's definitely not balanced, but it's a drop on the scale. And I know we don't like the term a Black woman. Yeah, that kind of rubbed me just a little bit. So I think he was looking through the natural eye.
All right. How about you, Almedia?
Well, I was very, very pleased that he made the nomination that he made. it showed me that he had done his homework to see where the most qualified individual was, and he had several to choose from. You know, there were several Black female judges that he had the pick of the litter, as they say, to choose from. So when he made the statement in the campaign, President Biden had done his homework. He has a team that does the research, and they present it to him and they explain it and all of that stuff. So I know it was an intelligent decision. One thing about inequality is inequality does not change until there's a disruptor. Inequality does not change until there is a disruptor. Scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. And the scripture goes on to say different things. A lot of inequalities are in every day. And whatever system or structure that has been in place with the power doesn't want that to go away. So it has to be a disruptor. A disruptor is Dr. Martin Luther King. A disruptor is Oprah Winfrey. A disruptor is Mother Teresa. Someone who goes against the grain to say, this is not right. The basis of how it's being done has no merit. Because you sit there and you say, well, we've always did this, that, and the third. Okay, but we've always did that. But is that inclusive? Is that giving everyone an opportunity? Is that providing freedom for everyone involved? No, it's providing freedom for those in the system. And so those outside of the system have to disrupt, cause some uneasiness for the system to change. And you can have inequality in a youth sports league. If the games have always been at the best park, and the park is always on the other side of town, and you get new players on the team that are from everywhere, and a suggestion is made to say, hey, why don't we rotate the games? 2 games in this park, 2 games in that park, 2 games in the other park. So those who've always been used to the park on the other side of town would be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna get out. I don't want to do all that. But you have a whole nother team now. So you need to consider all the players on the team. So Biden sees that our America is not what has traditionally been accepted as mostly Caucasian. He recognizes that it is brown and Black and Latino and all the different races and different genders. And he says we need to have representation from everybody so that we can service everybody. So the inequality is going to exist until a disruptor comes along.
Mhm.
And if the disruptor has support, then more people's views are heard, more people's experiences, um, matter, so that it changes the system, so that it changes the system. That's my
I like
2 cents.
the term disruptor. I like that. Um, and but we also hear about inequality, especially since the pandemic,
Mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm,
our healthcare system. Um, for the longest time, when it came to uh, discovering cures or new medicine for the human population, experiments were done to see how best this medicine would work on a person of Caucasian descent.
mm,
Um, because that's, I don't know, I guess because they considered them uh, to be a larger number.
Mhm.
But um, we know now that people of different races have different genetic uh,
Makeup.
backgrounds, that, what might work in this person's genes may not work in
mm,
a different race. And
mm,
that has to be tweaked in order to fit, that particular race. And you hear all these statistics about how African Americans are more likely to have diabetes than Caucasians, or people of Hispanic descent are. And I'm just saying this off the top of my head. I have not researched to see if this specific is true, but just as an example, that people of Hispanic descent may have higher rates of heart disease than people of Caucasian. These different disparities have been proven, uh, whatever their particular percentages are, but yet, you know, uh, the Caucasian race was usually the foundation that they used to create
Mhm.
initially, this medicine or this treatment, or, that's needed. And so I don't have the answer to that, but it just seems to me that it's kind of inherent in our system. For the longest time, education, they they came up with separate but equal, but turned out that separate didn't mean equal. you know this this particular group may receive top funding, have brand new buildings, have brand new school buses, brand new textbooks, but this side of town may have rundown buildings with leaky roofs, old textbooks that have been written in and pages torn out. And if they have a bus, the bus breaks down, every other week. So, they've tried it that way, but separate doesn't always mean equal.
Mhm.
So, um, like you said, Almeida, I was very happy that he did commit to choosing an African American woman, and I was even more happy that he had a number to choose from. You know,
He
yeah.
did. He sure
extremely
did.
qualified, extremely qualified. You know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and so I'm glad that he has taken this step, and I think our country will be the better for it.
Amen.
to have these different views.
Mm-hmm.
And
Um,
then some. Oh, I'm sorry. Who was saying something? I want to cut you
oh,
off.
I was gonna ask if any of you have personally experienced any type of situation that you felt that you may not have been treated equal.
Hmm. Um,
Yeah, lots.
Job
Yeah,
interviews.
banks. You know, we get
Yeah.
grilled when we go to apply for loans. We are told, "Oh, we'll get back with you in maybe a few weeks," or and why does it take that long? And then on top of that, the criteria to get the loan approved is like stacked up for us. And I mean, I went to a credit union one time, and I had a coworker who was Caucasian, and she did not care about sharing it with me. I went in to get a loan. It wasn't even a lot of money I was asking for. Yeah, I promise you, it wasn't even nothing. I just needed some for that summer. And she's like, "Oh," and back in the day, you got a 622, so you got a good credit score, but you got this one thing on there that's been on your credit report. I said, "Yeah, but that's old." I said, I explained why it was there. And she was like, "Well, no, I'm not gonna be able to do it." Okay. And so I'm feeling some type of way because I know I always paid my bills and tried to establish good credit. So my coworker comes out and she's la la singing, and she was like, "Girl, they approved me." She said, "I got the worst credit in the world." Now, why did God allow her to share that with me? I said, "You did." Okay, so I probably shouldn't have done this. So I called the manager. I said, "Now she told me I could share this." I said, "So how was this lady approved?" And she shared with me that she has the worst credit in the world. Um, I don't know who could have told you that. I couldn't call her name because I didn't know if I could or what I should have. But I say it's unfair. This is where I'm putting my money at, so I need to close the account. And I did. And I think if more of us do that, for those who won't help us, we can move our money. Because you're using my money every day to help you. But then when I want my money to sit there and it ain't like it's growing no interest, what is it? 1 point something, 0 point something. You ain't.
Yeah. 0 point
What's the
something.
return on it? Yeah, you ain't getting nothing back no way. So I've been doing some research on is having checking accounts and saving accounts. Now they're good for paying your bills, automatic stuff, but they were just saying, I mean, it's not even valued anymore. I mean, you can't even hardly do nothing with it. It's just sitting there. They use your money, but they won't let you get get any of theirs.
That's a
And so
great
that's an
example.
inequality, a big inequality right there.
That's a great
Yeah.
example.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, while you were speaking, Carolyn, that brought to my remembrance that here just recently, and you both probably heard about this, there was an African American couple who had their home appraised, and it was appraised very low. But when they had a white couple pretend that the home was theirs and met an appraiser,
Wow.
it got appraised significantly
Way up.
higher.
I
Wow.
read that.
It happened on more than these two occasions. They did it several times to see the pattern. And so now they have filed a lawsuit on that because the only difference was the fact that a white couple met with the appraiser saying that they own the house, and the African American couple met with the appraiser saying
Wow.
they. So it's still there. No matter how far we think we've come, you still run into these types of situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I agree. I agree.
I love what you said, Carolyn, about uh, when it happens to you, we have to do something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When that happened to you at the bank, you said, "Okay, I'm closing my account. I'm moving my money."
Mm-hmm.
And
And I went to another bank. This guy was not the manager. I think he may have been the assistant to the assistant manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want him to really wait on me anyway, but he was the only one available. So I went to this lady that I know. I was like, I don't want him to wait on me. She was like, Carolyn, that's all we got. She said, so she's like, fanned it off. He's okay, girl. I sit down with him and he had all this stuff spread out on the desk. And I'm like, what the heck is all this? I see you got good credit, but why you got all these student loans? Like, you're a doctor or something? I said, that's not your business what my title is. I'm here to get a loan, not to be criticized. So I need to see a manager. Well, there's no one available. I say, send me whoever you get. So he gets offended, he jumps up, and I'm just trying to help you. I mean, I said, I'm not going to sit here while you intimidate me. That's not why I'm here. And I do want to speak to a manager ASAP. And I was able to cut that process off. He jumped up and he brought, the lady in, the manager. And I went to her office. She said, well, come on back here and sit down. She's like, what's the problem? I told her, what he did. And I thought it was very unprofessional, unethical, and all of that. So she said, I agree with you. She said, I'm going to talk to him. She said, he had no right to scold you about your student loans. She said that we don't do that. She said, because we factor in, that information. She said, but we don't sit and poke at anybody for. I said, he was intimidating me, and I feel like it's because I'm Black.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be hard to prove. I said, I don't think it would. She said, I won't say he did it because you're Black and he's white. I said, he did. That's why he did it. I said, but guess what? I said, just give me a cashier's check, and we can solve this today. And I did. And I told the lady that I knew there. I knew a few of them there because it was a small bank that I used to deal with long ago. And she said, well, I'm sorry to see you go. I said, me too. And we have to stand up to stuff like this.
Right.
I guess he thought I was some because I was dressed in. It wasn't one of my days where I dressed up. I just think I had on maybe a little jacket or a little t-shirt or whatever, some jeans and tennis shoes. So I guess you just a poor, African American woman who's coming in, and you just want us to give you a handout. I guess that's the way he looked at me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I haven't been back to that bank since.
I'm proud of you. I am proud of you for standing up for you.
Yeah.
You have to.
Mm-hmm.
And while what's considered a hand up for one person is considered a hand out to another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we need people that can see us. We need people in positions of power that can see us.
Amen.
See who's
like Almedia say, a disruptor.
A disruptor.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember, is it Sandra Day O'Connor, who was the first female Supreme Court justice? Was that her name back in the 80s?
I think you are correct. Mm-hmm.
That's her name.
Yes. And I remember the big stink
When that happened.
Yes. Because how dare you nominate a woman, for Supreme Court justice? It was unheard of because it had never happened before.
Yeah.
So, but you would think that by this time, it shouldn't be a shock that an African American woman would be nominated for the position. But, you know, but that's where we are.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't close our eyes to the situation. I'm so proud of you, Carolyn. I am so proud of you. And
Thank you.
I hope that other people who hear this will take your example and do the same thing. Confront the situation. Don't back down. And if you have to step away, because there are others out there who would not have treated you that way. We're not saying everybody is the same. All people are all of one thing. Or all people, over here are just all one way. There are those out there who do see us, and we just need to make sure that those people we continue to support as well, helping to make a change.
Yep. Yep.
But
I agree. I
yeah,
agree.
but I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
Yeah, we have to say something. We have to. They don't get away with that,
Right.
And when I speak, I'm sure I spoke for thousands who sits there and get intimidated as if you don't know anything, and like I told him, you're gonna either do the loan or you're not, but you will not intimidate me.
Right.
He sat there and when I asked for the manager, he went to apologize and no, see, I think oh no, I'm through. I hit the desk. I need to see a manager now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. 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 Almost make me want to shed a few tears on that.
It's sad, that we have to experience stuff like that.
Right.
Because that same bank in the past had been just a big leaning pole for me. And I had never had any problems.
Okay.
And then sometimes I wonder, Almeida, was it the gender, some kind of gender thing going on? Him being the man, white man, me being the black woman. It could have been something like that where I don't care how many degrees you got, how many student loans you owe, you ain't getting this money. You ain't gonna get it, And then to intimidate me while I'm sitting there,
And then, perceptions about borrowers based on gender, based on socioeconomic, based on race. And a black woman ain't gonna pay the loan back. We just giving money away. Where does that come from? Where or it's yeah.
Well, even with employment situations, until they made age discrimination, a not a crime, but against the law. If you were a certain age, they didn't want to hire you.
Right.
If you had kids, they would ask if you had kids.
Right.
If you had kids, they didn't want to hire you.
Yeah.
Even just being a woman, even if you didn't have kids, well, you may hope to have kids in the future. So we're not going to hire you.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why it's so surprising, why it's hard for people who haven't experienced it to pass it off as though it doesn't exist or it never existed or it existed long ago.
It's still there. It's still there.
Yes, it's still there. It's still there. Well, I almost feel like I want to say something. Carolyn, what can I do to make you smile? What can I do to make you smile?
That's a really touchy thing for me. I guess because I experienced so much. My dad, where he worked, he was hand in hand with Caucasians all the time, and they got along well. It's just that, as much as I hate to say it, all the Caucasian children could come to our house. We could come out and play, but we could not go to their house. So, so I guess when that subject of inequality comes up, it resonates, and it reaches in and pulls so much out of me. And then, like, my mind going to wondering about all the times I had to deal with it. And I apologize for looking so stone-faced, but,
I appreciate you being so transparent.
Yeah.
Evidently, that was still sitting there in your heart. And I hope that being able to talk about it and being able to share it will lift that pain.
Yeah, I really hurt for the young children who's coming on behind us. Who don't deserve that. And I'm sure there'll be some who would sit down and get treated like that. And he's going, well, I really want to give you this loan. I really want to do it, but I don't know. So you can't let people play with you like that.
Right.
You do it or you don't.
Yep. Does my situation meet the qualifications to do I qualify for the loan?
Right.
Or even if I'm not perfect on paper, can't you see what's in me that will handle this loan professionally and that I will do, take care of my obligation? Because, I've heard of situations where they've done other people like that, just like you said with your coworker. She was in a worse situation than you, but they gave her the opportunity.
Yeah. And she said it wasn't her first time, She said, they always give me money. She said, I cannot believe those idiots. You see?
Oh, wow.
I cannot believe those idiots. I just can't believe they doing it. Those were her words. And I'm like, see, we try to be respectful. So, but anyway. Anyway, so.
Yes.
I'm smiling again, Pam.
I see. You're beautiful.
I'm wiping it off.
Well, we're going to end this episode of It's CPA Time on Carolyn's beautiful smile. Do we have any last minutes or last tidbits before we say goodnight or goodbye?
I would just say to the audience, if you're being treated this way, I don't care if you got to stand by yourself, one person. This one person or that one person represents a whole nation of people. You never know where, like me, disruptor. You never know how God is going to reach in while that person is trying to make a change and change the whole situation. You don't feel anything, See, things are changing now. How much, like Pam say, if they would just see us, now they're starting to see us. And to notice that we're not bad people, we're good people. We come from good backgrounds, and we just want to be treated, equal. That's all we're asking, and that's all anybody's asking. Just be, treat everybody, if you can. Just show fairness and equality to people.
Yes. Almedia.
Inequality will not be here forever. But we have to be disruptive of the system in order to get to equality.
Yes.
I love that.
And that's my word for today. As a matter of fact, maybe we should just count that as a mission to be a disruptor.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt. Yep.
Yes, put it on a t-shirt.
I love that.
I am a disruptor. Well, on that note, we will end this edition of It's CPA Time. Let's say goodbye to our sister Carolyn.
Goodbye.
And our sister Almedia.
Goodbye.
And I am Pam, your host for this episode. And I hope that you gathered some nuggets that you can use in your everyday life. And we will see you all next time on It's CPA Time. Bye.